Hello everybody, it's Lindsay from the Vintage Button. I junk journal and slow stitch, try to be sustainable, and today I'm slow stitching. So last week I talked about using your stamps, and here we have a sliding pile of stamps, or stamps that you would use in paper crafting. This is a really old, this one, Martha Stewart one from way back in the day. And these came off the front of a magazine, they're bird ones, and there's tickets and there's all sorts of things. And I talked about using them in your slow stitching to be embellishments, to be things that sort of you can add as elements to your slow stitch. And I don't think I've got any more things out, but if you go and watch that video, you'll see. And somebody in the comments said that they'd like to see some embroidery over the top of the stamps. And so I've done some today, and we'll do a bit more. But I've just sort of stamped out a few bits and pieces, and then I've gone over, just really simply with very simple stitches, using my vintage threads that I find in a variety of places out in the wild. And what I've done is I've just sort of doubled it up and doubled it up again, so it's almost like an embroidery floss, but it's like a loose, there's no twist to it or anything. But this thread is not, I wouldn't use it to make a garment or anything. It's so old. Like the wooden ones are probably more than 50 years old, and the plastic ones are probably going on the way for being 50 years old. So, you know, it's an organic material, it's not polyester, it's sort of cotton, so it's not going to have much strength to it, although it, you know, it feels like it. So here is my modern day version. I snipped it out of this tablecloth that I bought in an antiques place, and the reason I bought this was because of this. Now, the person who did this is much better at stitching than I'll ever be. And there's some fancy stitches, there's some French knots, and then I don't know what these are called, these like petal stitches, but there's also a lot of just like little straight stitches, and that's generally my slow stitch. It's not complicated, it is just little straight stitches. And I should imagine that there would have been some sort of pattern that this lady, or gentleman, I'm presuming it's a lady, used, and I think you can still get things like that. But you can use your stamps in the same way. You can get, and this has been done properly using an embroidery hoop. I'm just sat here, so my tension's all over the place. But that's alright. I'm really not worried. My slow stitch things are not perfect at all. It's more about the process rather than the product for me. So it's just a similar technique, and if you're fine about it, you get similar results as well, depending on what stamps you've got. So they could be quite modern. So I did this ticket because I should imagine you could like finish this off and then write a sentiment and then like put it on something that's got like a sentiment in it. So if I just took a pencil and I wrote whatever and then I stitched over it, a bit like this is my Vintage Button banner, and all I did was I just sort of wrote with pencil and then stitched over the pencil with just like a back stitch. That's just like a straight back stitch, which is what I've been doing here. So let's do a bit more on this butterfly. I'm not planning on finishing any one thing today. I just thought I would just give you a bit of a view. It's almost, with it half done, you sort of see you see the working out of it, if you know what I mean. So I'll just show you what I've been doing. I've been mostly using the back stitch. I've been mindful of my tension, but obviously not, because there's all this pucker in here. If I'd been clever about it, I would have dug out one of my embroidery hoops, and then the cloth would have had all the tension and it would have been fine. But I just sort of wanted to sit and do it. So I hope you're okay. I've got a bit of a headache and had a bit of a, I don't know if I'm fighting something off. I think I probably am. So I've had a day and an afternoon where I've just snoozed. I'm hoping I will sleep tonight because I just feel like utterly exhausted, so probably I'm coming down with something. Yeah, but I put an audiobook on this afternoon and stamped out these images and just started having a play about. And I got a headache, so I went downstairs for a little bit. And now I'm back. Now, where am I going to go? I think I'm going to go that way. So with the back stitch, and I'm using the back stitch to go in different directions, you're just always going back on yourself. Mindful of that tension. I'll show you what the reverse is like. You can see it's a back stitch because it almost looks like a chain. A back stitch is the closest thing you'll get to like a machine stitch almost, and it's the strongest actually. If you were like making sure that two bits of fabric stayed together, it's the strongest stitch you can do. So I've mentioned before in my other short slow stitch videos that my mum actually is a machinist and she can work any kind of sewing machine. She was trained to be a pattern cutter, but you had to sort of learn how to work a sewing machine as well. I don't know if you were a machinist and then you sort of were put up to being a pattern cutter. I don't know. It's very sort of Elizabeth Gaskell, people working in cotton mills situation. I grew up in a mill town. It's not a mill town anymore. In fact, the only way of manufacturing, I think my hometown is there's a massive Heinz factory there. So they make tinned soup and baked beans and things like that. But anyway, that's my hometown. And so there was always sewing machines around my house when I was younger. My mum used to have one of the treadle singers, and it was on the landing. It had a really nice big window on the landing, and it didn't have any electricity, so I think that's why she put it there. And I don't know if she acquired it somewhere, kind of got it for free, probably that's what it would, you know. But the thing about it is it would sew through anything, that machine. It's like a real workhorse. And the things she's made, and a lot of her contemporaries, that's going to be a long stitch, but I don't mind it. A lot of her contemporaries, like the lady who was her friend across the street, well, kind of down the road and across the street, she also, you know, had a sewing machine. Hers was in they called it the little room, but actually it's a pantry. Depending on your orientation of the house, there was two different types. I grew up on a council estate, which is like government housing, and depending on, they were built after the Second World War when people didn't have fridges. So if your house was south facing at the back, then your pantry was at the front, and vice versa. So our pantry was at the front of the house because we were south facing at the back and north at the front, but it was referred to as a little room. I always wanted it as my bedroom because I had to share my bedroom. And now I see all these videos of people like Harry Potter almost. It did go under the stairs, but it was a much bigger room than that. It like had like another bit to it. But yeah, like Harry Potter, having a bedroom under the stairs. I'm one of 4 children. And we had a 3-bedroomed house, so we both shared, like the boys had a room and the girls had a room. So there we go. So I don't know whether I'm going to leave that there and move on to a different one. I'll just finish off the thread. I might finish off the thread. And what I would do is I would choose another colour. So like that colour's quite nice, this lavender colour, and I would just cover the blobby bits, that the right way, just sort of sew over it until it's covered up, so that you've got everything covered in the same way. But this is just the line, it's just the details rather than covering the whole thing. You could cover the whole thing, like I could go in here with a different colour and cover the whole thing and make it into like almost like an embroidered patch. I could do that. I like that colour. I don't know whether I want to make the bow. I might make the bow that colour. Anyway, when I want to move it along, I'm just sort of whipping it along the back like that, just to keep it a bit neat, really. So this sort of stuff is not, I wouldn't normally do it sat at a desk. This would be sat on the sofa with a documentary or an audiobook or a podcast, something on in the background I didn't need to look at. And there's all kinds of, one of the comments, I've read the comments but I've not sort of done anything with them, but somebody gave some ideas for a Q&A, and one was about like books and podcasts, and I was like, oh, I'll have to have a think about that. I'm quite eclectic, I think. I'll have to be careful as well, because it kind of, oh, I don't know, that could be dangerous, but I think it's alright. I'm only teasing, it'll be alright. We will have a questionnaire, so if you've got any questions for Q&A, pop it in the comments. I'd love to know if you've come back because you watched the other stamping video, because I said I would do this for this Sunday and delay my Valentine's Day thing, although it's given me an idea for Valentine's Day or Valentine's. I used to decorate seasonally, so we would decorate for birthdays, because it was Lily's birthday last week and it's Miles's birthday this week, and so the Christmas decorations would come down, and then there would be birthdays, and then we'd sort of gently move into Valentine's Day, and then it would start to gently put the spring stuff out. But we don't do that now that Lil's older, just because I think my motivations of doing it was sort of not educational, but a homely thing to do when there's children. She liked the decorations. She asked for the Christmas tree to us delay putting the Christmas tree down this year, which we did do. I took all the decorations off and just left the lights up, and I've still got a few more. I put it away now, and I put a lantern with some fairy lights in it, and there's a few more bits and pieces I want to do, which I will get to. So there we go. So when I'm getting to near the end, because I don't want to go back through to the front, I am just knotting it off, but then I'm sort of using that whip, going along, not putting any tension into it really, just sort of, I don't even know if this is what you're meant to do. Nobody actually taught me to embroider or anything, that's why I don't know any of the fancy stitches. Like I said, my mum was a seamstress, as in a machinist, and she used to make industrial things actually, and used to pattern cut out industrial things like sidings for articulated lorries, like the curtains, I don't know, lorries, like the big trucks that carry goods and stuff around, and bouncy castles, all kinds of things. She used to make sailing ship sails. So it was like an industrial, rather than making garments. She can make garments, but that's what her area was. Right, so we have that. We've got that one. I thought I would have a go at the bow, because I could do that one all together, And then I might make a start on one of the birds. But also just talk through some ideas. So like you could, this one, I'll have to remember how to do a French knot, but I would like French knot all of those bits. I would choose different colours. I was also thinking about, so I use the ink for this. It's not black, it's this timber brown by Stays On, which I prefer it to black. Even when I'm junk journaling. I don't know why. It just hiccup. It just feels like a gentler colour on the page. But I think what I would do, oh, they're way over there. I've got like some orange ones, some like orangey yellow, so it's almost tone on tone. That's what I would do if I was making this, and I wanted the ink to really disappear. I mean, I think the ink's disappearing well enough with this, but you know, if I really wanted it to disappear, that's how I would go about that. Let me move my phone. Let's choose a colour. There was that nice lavender. What was it called? Oh, it's called Air Force Blue. Doesn't seem blue, it seems purple. Let me know if you think that's a blue or a purple. I would have thought that's like a lavender colour. I thought Air Force Blue was more grey. Don't know. So, like I said, I'm just making it, doubling it over and then doubling it over, so it's like a 4-stranded thing. Let's have a look on my pin cushion. I'm just using crewel needles. I used to use really fine needles, but as I got older, because like I'm 50 now, so you know, I can't see anything. So I need something with a bigger eye really, so that I can thread it. Otherwise, I would have been here all night. You can hear strange noises. I think that's our boiler. We're getting it serviced, and there is something wrong with it. It loses pressure, so we have to, if we want to put the heating on or run hot water, because we have like all the hot water goes through that system. I have to readjust the pressure. It's quite feels quite rudimentary, but there we go. But it's getting fixed tomorrow. It's good job Frugal February, which is our, like, we're trying not to spend any money in February, is coming up. If we're having to deal with things like that. Okay, so we're just going to go around the outside. That's why I was thinking, do I start something from scratch, or do I just do a few? And I think the way my brain's working today, I don't know if I could sit and do like an entire thing. And I don't know how, like, it's a bit like I said with the fussy cutting for junk journaling, and also like with the slow stitch videos. I quite like watching somebody slow stitch, but I don't know if everybody would. It's like, is it a bit too sort of watching paint dry? When you kind of want ideas rather than actually watching somebody do it. It's a bit like on a cooking program, and they always have the next step made, so you never truly see how long something takes, because they've got people running around behind them, the people on the, whoever it is, Gordon Ramsay or whatever. They've got like home ec people who are making all the next steps, so they just need to reach for a different pan or whatever. Yeah, I don't have any of that, you see. I just have, it's me, myself and I, and my old broken phone. I was watching so I watch, I think there's more Q&A, but I'll talk about it now. So I watch a variety of things, like on the TV. I like a documentary. I'll not talk about which ones, but you know, like I like a documentary. I might talk about which ones in a Q&A. And then I was watching YouTube today, because there's a few things I watch on a Sunday. There's a furniture painter called Made by Marley. She's a Scottish lady, and she's very interesting the way she does it, and it inspires me for junk journaling actually. And I think because I can tell with some of her designs, or you've been watching a junk journaler, or you've been watching junk journal, the way it's done. So I like her. And then I like really, really alternative ways of living. So there's a British couple called Log Hoppers. I've been watching them recently. And they live in a tent, like by choice. They live in a tent in the British countryside. And it's not even like a warm tent, it's kind of like a summer tent. Now I find this intriguing because when I was a child, we lived in the northwest of England, and the obvious place to go on holiday is North Wales, which is very beautiful. All mountains. I don't know where if I was thinking where would you be able to see Welshmen? I'm sure if you can get hold of BBC, there'll be some programs on. There'll be some Welsh programs because they have their own language, particularly in North Wales. But yeah, it's just very beautiful. It's all mountains, and the coast is very beautiful, like really white beaches, and it's just lovely. So we used to have a massive tent that was it was like a mini house. It had bedrooms and a kitchen and a lounge, and there was like 4 of us. And my dad, I think now when I look back, I'm like, I bet he planned that it would be this way. So basically we would all get packed up in the tent at the beginning of the summer holidays, and we'd do like, I would say 2/3 of the summer holidays away. And because obviously you don't get that much paid leave in the UK, I don't think it's changed much. So even in the 80s it would be 20 days. No, you would have had 25, like I've got 25, and then plus bank holidays. So I mean, actually that's quite considerable, because some people don't get any paid leave, do they? But it's still not, you can't take an entire summer holiday off. So what he used to do was he would work a short week. He would work like Wednesday, Thursday one week, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday the week after, and then have these really long weekends, and just come back. But that means my mum would have had all 4 of us in this tent. She wasn't completely on her own, because there was another couple that we used to go on holiday with, and they were both teachers, so they could have most of the holiday off. And then various other people would come down and visit, and then they would take us all. I remember the first time I watched Star Wars at the cinema rather than watching it on the telly. Oh no, I must have watched it at Unit 4. I think it was Empire Strikes Back though, because it's a really vivid memory. We went, like this young couple came down. They're not that. I think they just got married and they didn't have kids, and they piled us all in the back of their little car. You can't do that now because it'd be illegal, because there was like loads of us, all the 2 bigger ones of us, and then the big girl of the couple next door, the teaching couple, like their eldest, and there must have been some other kids, because I remember other kids, like friends that like they just all went to this holiday place in North Wales, like campground. So yeah, it's just this like, so I have this love-hate relationship with camping, because I have really nice memories of that, but I also have memories of being made to go and get the water and the freezer packs, because you have like a cooler and you go and get freezer packs exchanged in the camp shop, and all kinds of things like that. And you'd have jobs and you'd have to pump the air beds up every day because they'd go down, because I don't think things are that well made. I don't know. My dad liked buying camping equipment, so when we weren't camping, at the weekends we would be going looking around at camping equipment, and I just hated like the whole not having your own bathroom. So I used to make my mum go and clean the shower before I got in it, because other people had been in it. I would be like, really? I suppose she brought us up like that. I don't kinda. We'd even have to have another weekend, and where we would stay at a campsite where it had all right bathrooms, and we would go and check out other bathrooms. And basically, it sounds like I was a tyrant as a child. I wasn't, and I think this was the only thing really I had leeway on. But I used to go and check it didn't matter about what the facilities were. I used to go and check the bathrooms, and if the bathrooms were dirty, I'd be like, we're not staying here. I'm not having a bath there. And they kind of knew that I would just make everybody miserable. So yeah, so that was fun. So I have this kind of, like I said, love-hate relationship with camping. And this couple, these log hopper couples, have chosen to live in a tent. So it's kind of a little bit like, are you insane? Why would you choose to do that? And the more I've watched it, the more I kind of understand it. I could never do it. It's like van lifers. I like watching van lifers because I think I kind of understand why you're doing it. Particularly, kind of in I don't know because I don't know what it's like in other countries. I've travelled, but I'm not, I have been to America, and my husband's South African, so I've been around South Africa, and that's a very, very different place to the UK. And I've done travel around Europe, but it's that sort of like cultural thing. So I kind of, I understand why people. I think I'm probably saying Western kind of people in the first world who basically who decide not to do the rat race of, most of our money goes towards our mortgage, and we're very grateful for that, because it would be going towards like a landlord if it wasn't going towards a mortgage. And you do feel like you're a bit on a treadmill. And these people have they've stepped off that treadmill, and I'm intrigued by it. Like I said, I don't think I could do anything like that. I can't wait to finish my mortgage. I don't have to work full time. But that's another story. I've got to get a kid through university yet. But yeah, so that was the musings of when you do slow stitching. You muse, don't you? And I'm wittering. But I think you can kind of really see how things are coming together. There we go. It still does look purple to me. It doesn't look blue. Perhaps I'm a bit colourblind. My older brother's colourblind. I don't think I am. I do have a headache though. There we go. So Miles went to Airsoft today, which is like shooting people, but not with real guns. It's like soft BB pellets. Kind of toy soldiers. My tension's a bit too much there. I'm not going to worry. I actually think these might end up in my junk journal, in my January junk journal. So still have the giveaway, and there still is the rules. The basic rules are to be subscribed, like and comment on the videos, and share the videos. And in the comment on the video, let me know where you've shared it. And as many times as you do that, because I know people don't watch every video that I put out, so that's not the expectation at all. But it's just like, if you watch a video, I'd like you to, and you enjoy it, obviously. I'm not, if you don't, if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. But if you do find value and you want to enter the giveaway, let me pause, let you know what the giveaway is. It's got stuff piled on top of it. So it's a box of vintage button goodness. And I've put the dates on here to remind you, or to remind myself actually, that we're going to do the draw at the end of February. And this is what's in the box. Oh, I put something extra in. This is a paper tape. But there's some vintage, there's a vintage napkin, there's an antique, couple of letters, I think there's some braid or something in there, then there's a tag, there's some yo-yos and vintage buttons in there, there's like lots of an ephemera pack of lots of cut up bits and pieces. Then there's a petal journal blank so you can fill it in, and a junk journal that's not got anything in it, that's also naked, you can fill that in. A pincushion, we made that during a slow stitch video. So it's got a mixture of things that are slow stitch and junk journaling, and I generally find that people, they don't do both, they kind of dipped the toe